Yeah, that's what Judy was seeing when she logged
Oh,
into.
okay. Yeah, this is normal. This is what she's supposed to be seeing.
Okay, she seemed to think it was different. No, right to me.
All right. Well, I suppose the first and most important part when you're helping some users who have issues, if you're helping them troubleshoot, is to determine first what kind of system they're working on. And if you were here when I was asking Judy, that was one of the first questions that I asked was, if she's on a Mac or a PC. So this course here outlines all of the operating systems that we support. And there's a pretty important note here. You may run into a few users that are on this Mac OS Mojave 10.14. Those particular users, it's like a toss-up. So half of them we find don't experience any issues, but then the other half just are not able to connect to voice. And if they are, it's kind of spotty. So our recommendation there would just be to upgrade whenever possible. But obviously, when doing so, you'll want to be mindful of any programs that need to run on a certain operating system. So just keep that in mind. It's always good to suggest, hey, before you upgrade your OS, maybe a good idea to just get a good system backup and things of that sort. Okay, so Judy's going to try the reinstallation. And who's in contact with Judy outside of the platform, just in case she needs to reach out?
I am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Kate. All right. So you may also find if you go searching that there is a Virbela Intercom app, but that is only currently for the Virbela Open Campus. So that does not necessarily apply to any private campuses for the moment, but that is something that is in our long-term roadmap. But that's no ETA on this currently. And then a note here that Virbela is currently not compatible with Chromebooks or Linux-based computers. So anybody who asks about like devices, this is going to be your go-to page here. And I won't read through all this, but this is where you would find that graphic for the minimum and recommended hardware specs. And in just a moment, we'll be able to show you how to determine from a couple different spots what type of system somebody's working with. So another reminder there about the Mac OS Mojave. And I guess I'll ask now as well, for all the staff, are they going to be, what permission role are all the staff members going to have on campus, Ron?
Member,
Gotcha, okay.
Right.
So this may not apply. You won't be able to check system metrics from inside the platform or the dashboard, but you can contact your campus admins or moderators to check this for you. That way you can kind of determine what might be causing some of the more specific tech issues here. And also something that you can do is you can ask a user who's having issues to show you a picture or a screenshot of their own system metrics. The way that they would find that out is this little signal bar to the right of the microphone icon. If you select that signal bar, it'll open up your own system metrics, and you can hover over these fields to and as you can see, even my system is struggling just a little bit. I'm on a MacBook Pro, but I've got a couple different programs open. So you can hover your cursor and see some more information. At least in most cases you can, but it looks like my system is struggling so much that it's not even populating properly on my end. But you should be able to see some information in case you want to just let some users know to check out their hardware specs, check out how their system might be performing in the platform, and that way you can suggest some next steps, which we'll go over in just a moment. So once they've either looked at their own system metrics using the signal bar or sent you a screenshot of that, you can use this guide to click on all the cells here, all the buttons, read about what they all mean. We'll skip this from the dashboard portion. We'll jump right into the presentation boards. And so in a section following this, we'll kind of go over the best practices for troubleshooting in case there's some graphics issues or things that users can adjust in their preferences. That way they can have the best experience possible. But we'll talk about presentation boards for a moment here. So this is one of the tools that we use. I'm sure you're familiar with these already. A couple different ways that you can troubleshoot issues related to the presentation boards. Of course, we do already have the button shown here in the top right to refresh that particular web board. So you can try that. You can also try just leaving the room and re-entering. Anything basically in order to reload the room on your system. So that's one of the quickest ways you can. The other way that takes a little bit longer, but is a surefire way to reload everything would be to log out and back in. And then finally, if you haven't restarted your device in a while, I know I'm really bad at this as well. It's always a good idea to restart before you know you're going to be in the platform for a long time. And then you can also try to open the platform without any web browsers open or any other applications, or at least none of those extra ones that you may not be using currently. For a blurry screen, the presenter may actually need to reset their screen by either disconnecting and reconnecting within the presentation tool. In other cases, a blurry screen may be related to the limits of their bandwidth. So one of the ways that we like to test is by using something called speed test. If a presenter says they're having trouble, I like to direct them to this site. That way they can just click go. They're going to get a little test as far as their internet connection goes. And then from these numbers, and you can compare your own to theirs, you can then ask them, hey, why don't you send me a screenshot of those numbers, or just tell me what they are. And then maybe we can determine whether or not it's just the internet that's causing the issue and not necessarily the platform.
Am I supposed to be seeing something up that screen?
Yes, actually. Who was that, Kate?
Yeah, I just have this Welcome to Virbela's Private Campus onboarding suite.
Me too.
I'm not seeing anything else.
Same for me.
Okay. And here's a good example. So were you all able to see anything that I was sharing or
No.
not at all?
No.
Interesting. Okay. I will disconnect the screen share and then I will attempt to reconnect. And if this doesn't work, we have a little workaround for it. I am also not seeing my screen share. So that is an interesting bug. So if this happens, if you are in a pinch, I'm not going to log out and back in, but one of the other methods that we use is something called crank wheel. So that's what I'm going to attempt at the moment. And hopefully that works. So I'll cancel the screen share. I appreciate you pointing that out there. Crank wheel is one of our third-party tools that sometimes presenters have to use. It could be a number of different reasons why the screen share native tool may not be working, but this is a free feature. It does have some paid features, but with crank wheel and their free version, you can at least share your screen with up to, I believe, 30 users is what they have currently at the moment. So that is the method I'm going to use right now. So I'm logging into my account. Probably going to ask me to verify with a PIN that they're going to email to me. And also this helps a lot as well when you have multiple monitors. Regrettably in Virbela, you can't choose which monitor to share. It's just going to share the primary monitor that you're using. So if you can't shift anything around, a crank wheel helps. It allows you to select which window or which monitor that you'd like to share. Apologies for my technical difficulties here. Looks like they're not sending me the verification pin, so I'll just try to get that resent to me. All right, I'm verified. So just to double check, can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
All righty.
Yes.
And so what this is going to do is it's going to give me a URL, and I'll put the URL into the web board, and then I should be able to screen share. All right. Are we able to see now?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So back to the course here. Very, very sorry that you weren't able to see it. But essentially what I had gone over in the beginning here is this first section. So that link that I put in the chat, I'll put it in the chat one more time just in case. That will bring you exactly to the first section of the course, which shows the hardware requirements here. Once again, there are a couple different reminders for that Mac Mojave 10.14. Also an important note that the Virbela Intercom app is only for the Virbela Open Campus currently.
Will
Here's
this
that
link,
image.
sorry, will
Yeah.
this link be available like all the time type thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if
Yeah,
you want
okay.
to like bookmark that, absolutely. And then also to go along with this section, we do have an entire knowledge base. So this will be very, very useful. And this is this covers all of the tier 1 tech support issues. I'll link this in the chat as well. And so all of the articles and like the resources that you need for tier 1 at least should be contained within the knowledge base. But if you'd like a more interactive way to go over this, then that's what the course is good for. Right here in the very first section, you do get this image that shows the hardware minimum and recommended. And just to go over that process one more time of checking your own system metrics, you can look at the signal bar at the bottom left of your screen right next to the mic icon, and then your system metrics should pop up like this. And as you can see, I'm kind of hovering my cursor now over each of these little warnings, and it gives you a recommendation of what you could try to help alleviate some of this, help your system perform a little bit better. And if you want to get a deeper dive on the system metrics, you can open up this course and click on each cell. Just gives you a little bit of an info blurb on which is which, what these things all mean. And then for that speed test, that link is just speedtest.net. So you could just take out that part at the end there. If you want to help somebody troubleshoot either their internet or even just determine whether or not their internet is the problem, you can direct them to this site. I'll link this in the chat as well, just for ease of bookmarking. Once they hit go, it's just going to select some of the regions and things that apply to them, and it's going to test out their internet connection for them. They can then let you know what these numbers are, or even just take a screenshot, send them to you, and then you can make that determination on whether or not their issue is potentially being caused by some network. We'll skip that from the dashboard part, jump right back to the presentation boards. So here's where that troubleshooting is found for the presentation boards here. The refresh button at the top right of each web board is right there as shown in the picture. And as I had to do because the screen share was not working, can try some of these here. So for right here, users can encounter issues if their own network or device is struggling to connect to the hosting servers for content, such as images or videos, which may have to be investigated on a user-by-user basis. So for best results, we default to advising users to restart their device, open no web browsers or other applications, and try running Virbela alone. Probably the issue that I just experienced was due to a lack of restarting my system. It has been a couple days, which is a huge no-no, especially on a Monday. I should have definitely restarted just before my day started today. Here's a little blurb about that signal bar icon next to the microphone icon again. And I also am on Wi-Fi currently, and there's a note here that Wi-Fi is acceptable, but wired Ethernet and high-speed internet are optimal. So connecting via a mobile hotspot is not recommended, and that's something I actually tried this past Friday, and it did not work well at all. I was able to connect to the world for for a little while, but my voice server connection was pretty terrible with my mobile hotspot. All right, so now this brings us to some of the things that can be adjusted within preferences. So if Virbela is running slow, there are a few things you can do to improve performance of Virbela software. It is best to experiment with one change at a time to see which has the best impact. That way you preserve the graphical settings you like, and just change the necessary things. That way you don't reduce everything, right? You still want to have a good time, have a good experience, but you don't want everything to look too simple or too plain. You still want to be able to enjoy what the platform has to offer. So at the top right, I'll kind of take you through these steps on my screen now. You'll find that gear icon. Obviously, the preferences are here. So here are all of the different settings that users can choose from. I currently have mine set to fastest and 20. I find that 10 frames, looks a little bit too choppy for me, but because I'm struggling, I may just have to bump it down anyway. So I'll do that. Of course, you can change the volume, but that's just kind of personal preference. No, it doesn't really have an effect on the performance, but you're going to want to look at the graphics options for performance. Fastest is always a good one to start out with and just gradually increase. That way you're not crashing out just by hitting best right off the bat. Target frame rate, obviously 30 is ideal, but 20 if you're struggling, and if you're struggling even more, bump that down to 10 or reduce it to 10.
Sorry, question about struggling. When you struggling with target rate, what does that look like?
So what that might look like is, let's say you've got it on 30, but you find that maybe your machine's fan starts running too hot, or you find that user interface kind of acts slow. So if you were to click the go-to menu and it doesn't immediately open up, so things like that. So if it just seems like you've increased your frame rate and everything else starts to move slowly, or
Right.
Or maybe the screen is not rendering right, or a video is not playing the way it's supposed to. It could be a sign that frame rate's a little bit too high, and just you may want to bump it down a little bit. So that's even another reason why I keep mine at 20. 30 in most cases tends to be a little bit too high, even for me. But for now, I'll just leave mine at 10. And then another thing that users can try, and I can't really demonstrate this here, but it can be demonstrated in a bigger space, is if you check this box next to where it says low draw distance, it's going to make the campus or the scene look like it's ending much sooner than it's supposed to. And that's basically because your screen is only going to load your immediate vicinity and surroundings, as opposed to loading the entire space all at the same time. So if you find that you're making a couple adjustments and it doesn't seem to be helping all that much, or maybe you're on a system with that is way under the recommended hardware specs, then you may need to try all of these things just to get your machine to work well in the platform. I'll leave that one unchecked for myself. And then avatar complexity, finally, by default, yours should be set to dynamic. This is going to be selected for you. Basically, what this avatar complexity means is that if I were to choose simple, you'll notice that everybody becomes like a gingerbread shape, or just that flat shape. That normally happens in groups of 120 or more avatars. The good thing about this is that if you are in a space such as the auditorium or the speakeasy, any space that has a stage, all of the avatars that are on the stage will remain in full detail. So at least it's not forcing everybody, if you've got presenters and folks on stage, you definitely want them to be in full detail in case you're doing any kind of streaming or broadcasting, or just for the folks in the audience, just to load them in full detail is always nice, that it doesn't turn them into flat avatars. But if you do select simple manually, then it will show them as flat. But at least with the dynamic, it will preserve the detail of any avatars on stage. And for those folks who maybe don't like that, maybe they've got a really great system and they don't need this dynamic option, they can just select full and always render all the avatars in full detail, no matter how many are packed into a tight space. For scenes like the campus or a team suite, it will be more distance-based. So you may want to be or tell users to be a little bit more careful in those situations. If you're on campus, it won't necessarily show everybody as a flat avatar once more than 120 users are on the campus. It's just going to go by distance. So if you're around a lot of avatars, they may be in full detail, but as they walk further away, at a certain point, they will turn into that flat shape. All right, so those are some of the things that users can try if they find that their system is struggling, or everything is just kind of slow, or their computer gets too hot. Even in our support articles here, if I think you can even type things like too hot, or like your fan is blowing too hard, and is my computer overheating? So things that you can search. Users, you can even send the support articles just like in advance as a resource if you want them to be able to search their own issues. We'd like to think that there's an article for most, if not all, tier 1 tech support issues here in this knowledge base. And so also within this course, I went through a majority of these already, but you can feel free to refer back to this course, or even just send somebody the link. When you go to different sections of this course, such as the hardware requirements, the presentation boards, or the software issues, navigating to that particular section and then copying the link will actually allow somebody to click on that link and jump right to that section. So that's something cool about this course as well.
Nice.
I may have skipped a little bit of a portion here. I'll just go right back to it. Oh, maybe that was it. So audio troubleshooting now. When aiding with audio issues such as microphones not working or not being able to hear voices, so it is best to take a step-by-step approach once again to ensure that simple fixes are done first before tackling the more complicated steps. Here's that great question again. Are you on a Mac or a PC? Is your microphone on in Virbela? So this is an easy one when you're first using the platform, right? You want to make sure just to toggle that button, make sure that it does respond. And as another user, you can also check here in the top left, if someone's mic is open, it doesn't have that red line striking through the little speaker icon there. And if it's closed, you'll see that red line. Number 3, you might want to just try reinitializing your voice. So that is in the gear menu right underneath Send Bug Report. That'll make everything go quiet for a couple moments. And then you also won't be able to speak, but then you'll hear a little chime, and that'll let you know that you have reconnected to the voice server. And that just kind of force resets your connection there. You can also check to make sure that your correct microphone is selected within the mic settings. To get there, it's the gear icon, then mic settings, then you just make sure that the desired microphone is selected. There's also a button there to navigate to your system sound settings if you need. Whoops, I think I clicked the wrong one. So here on my screen, it says audio settings. And then if I wanted to, I could just select Mac sound settings. That'll bring me right to my machine's sound settings. This is a screenshot for Windows. So are the preferences set correctly? Sometimes when you have a device such as an external monitor, that may create an additional playback device. So you want to be mindful of these tabs, right? When you're in this the sound settings, there's a playback tab there at the top left, which is what's currently shown. Sometimes an external monitor will generate an additional playback device, even if that monitor does not actually have working playback speakers of its own. So that's an interesting issue that some folks run into. They say, hey, my sound was working just 10 minutes ago. I plugged in my monitor and now I can't hear anything. Or maybe I just hear the clicking and the walking of the platform, but I don't hear anyone's voice. That could be caused by that extra device that they've plugged in, that now the platform is attempting to route some of the audio, such as the voice, to that device, which does not have speakers. So one of the best practices there, this does primarily affect Windows users. You'll just want to make sure that in your Windows sound settings, you are right-clicking the device that you want. In this case, it's this headset earphone, and you want to right-click it and set it as the default device. And just as important there, you'll want to right-click all of the other devices, even if they're not in use. You'll want to make sure that they're actually disabled. So even if that extra device generated by the external monitor is not selected, or it's not being used, or it doesn't have that green check mark, if you don't manually disable it, there may be a chance that it's confusing your machine and just trying to be used for the platform. And of course, you may want to log out and back in after taking any of the above steps to ensure that the changes are made. And I will just refresh my screen here. I think a couple things didn't load properly. I'll jump right back. Here's that clean reinstallation guide that we alluded to earlier. So if all previous troubleshooting steps fail, a clean reinstallation of the software may fix the issue. The process is different for Windows and Mac, so that's going to be described here. For Windows, it's a little bit easier because right in the instructions, this is going to take you just through the basic installation instructions. So that's all well and good. We've all made it in here, so we should all be familiar with how to complete this process. Yeah, exactly. And so right here, when you're all done, there's the last portion here. It says remove any existing downloads and caches. You'll want to do this if a patch failed, but also if you're just doing a clean reinstall. So you'll want to make sure that that box is checked, and that will allow you to make sure that you are installing with all new files, that there's nothing left over there from any previous downloads. For the Mac, it is a little bit weird. First, you must delete a folder named, not everyone knows what this squiggly line thing is called. So squiggly line library / Virbela, but in this case, it might say library / the making contact campus. To get there, you'll want to open the Finder application. So on my little board at the bottom here, it's at the very far left. And you'll want to open the Go drop-down menu and select Go to Folder. Type in this /library and then press Go. That'll take you to the right spot. But then you'll want to search through the folders and delete any folder that begins with the Making Contact campus. So Virbela, this would be for the open campus, but in this case, because we're on a private campus, you want to look for your private campus name or the name of the campus that you're trying to clean reinstall. And you'll want to make sure that you delete all of those. And then when you try installing the program again, just by clicking the download link, that should be a clean reinstall at that point because you've deleted all of the prior folders from any previous install. A little reminder here that if you're part of a private campus, so in this case, reach out to the admin of the campus to get that download link again. And now for this last part, this is for the Tech Support Center, and I can't remember if those were actually enabled. Are you going to be using the Tech Support Center on campus, either the green ticket machines or the blue machines?
Yes, I believe we are.
All right, I will take you through this. So the Tech Support Center is a feature that allows users to request assistance from a moderator or admin of the campus. So this would be important if you want to use these ticket machines here, the green one on the left, the blue one on the right. The blue one on the right will be tied to the tables that are behind the information desk. So that group of tables right there underneath that wooden awning will be linked to the blue ticket machine. So this is something to consider because maybe you'll want to use the tables that are closer to the welcome area. If you know that most folks are going to be starting out in that particular spot, it may be helpful to just have everything closer. But at the same time, if you like more privacy, right? Maybe you don't want all of the tables being that close because you may have some users jumping into the private volume as you're trying to help troubleshoot another user. You may want to use the left ticket machine. So that's going to link to the second floor of the main hall. It's kind of that building that's kind of far forward from the welcome area. You can kind of see it when you log in, but it is that building with multiple levels. The tables on the second floor will be tied to the green ticket machine.
Okay, I think that might be the one we're using. Hunter? No, I don't know if he's still there. They are. Oh, Victoria?
Yeah, I think the ones we have connected right now are the blue ones at the info center, but I don't know if we have both.
Okay, Ron had mentioned the second floor one for Hunter, so maybe we'll have both day of.
Jonah, are you able to see what we already have active?
Yeah, I can take a peek. I will jump into the dashboard here.
I've always felt that the info center desk tables are sufficient because they're right up front.
Yeah, the closer ones. So it looks like we've got. Yeah, it looks like we've got the blue ticket machine and not the green ticket machine. And if that's good enough, then that is perfect. And basically, this portion of course is describing the green ticket machine tables, but the only difference here is just what's pictured. So I guess in your case, maybe ignore these pictures, but once you get and also ignore the border system because that only applies to the main hall second floor. But
Jonah,
this yeah.
sorry, is it easy if we did want to activate this one? You said the only difference is that the second floor has more privacy in terms of
Yeah,
sound.
yeah. So if you wanted something further away, it is
Okay.
easy to turn on. So with a day or two's notice, if you did want to either add or switch to the green ticket machine, just an email to mycampus@virbela.com is good enough with an updated configuration document or just a note of, just a quick request to enable the green ticket machine. We can do that and get that enabled for you.
Awesome.
But something to note about that as well is that anytime we do enable a different configuration for the campus, it's always good to do it outside of an actual event. And the reason I say that is because any updates like that will require a log out and back in order to actually see them take effect. So it may be a little bit of an inconvenience, to let a user or all the users in campus currently know that they have to log out and back in just to use that feature. So always good to get that done in advance if at all possible. But this servicing process here is the exact same for both ticket machines. So that's at least good that it's mentioned in the course here. So once you're sitting actually at one of the servicing tables, you will see this wait list on the right. But this is going to be for admins or moderators. I don't believe members have access to this servicing process. So this will be just for the campus admins. And I believe of the admins here, Victoria, Hunter, you both are pretty familiar with those ticket machines, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
We can show
Anything
Kate too.
that I should go over for Robert and Kate as far as the ticket machines go?
I don't know. Kate, do you know how to use it at all? Or Robert? Do you guys
Robert got
How
trained
to use it.
before.
But I think based on what Ron said, the staff members will only have member level permissions. Is that right?
Yeah, but I think Kate and Robert will have the ability to do more. For sure, Kate as well.
Okay, yeah, then I'll definitely have to go through this real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you are using the port tables and somebody takes a ticket, you'll see that option to serve next. That will just pop that user right to the table. It will, no matter where they are on campus, they'll just be teleported straight to your table. So no need to hunt them down or anything like that. The table should have its own private volume and also its own private chat tab. That way, if they're having mic issues, you can always communicate with them via chat. Couple different options. When you're finished helping them, you can either dismiss them, so that'll send them back to the welcome area, and remove them from the queue. So that would be used if you are finished providing them with support, or if they're not responsive, maybe they stepped away from their computer, or it could be another issue. You could click the send to back. That keeps them in the queue, but moves them all the way to the back of the line. That way you can service them again when they're ready and not remove them from the queue by mistake. Any questions about the ticket machines?
Nope.
All right. And we have the resources. So I've sent the support article. So this is going to be the main one if you need a little bit more of an interactive guide. Once again, this course is good. I want to make sure I didn't skip anything here. I think I might have when before I restarted this page. Okay, so it looks like this is what I was trying to load before, just the closing of non-essential programs. Here's where I went over the changing the graphics options, reducing the target frame rate, switching to simple avatars, reducing the draw distance. So there's just a reminder that those suggestions are there. And then also another reminder just to make sure you're only changing the settings you care about the least. That way you can get the software running the way you want without sacrificing any of the features that make it look better. All right, how are we feeling, staff members, about providing support?
Yep.
Good.
Pretty good.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Anything confusing, or what happens if? Any kind of those questions?
That's what I'm trying to think of now.
I know that Hunter had a situation with one of the speakers. I don't know, Hunter, if you want to talk about that or if you sent something in about it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
it's
was
not
that today,
it's
Hunter?
not directly
We
related to the tickets, but we were trying to get someone named Peter Robbins onto campus, and he wasn't able to log in because at the login screen, that the login window, like where you put your email and password in, wasn't actually showing up. And Virbela just got back to me saying something about it could be like a VPN issue. Although I'd be surprised if he was doing anything like that.
Yeah, it's actually an issue that's not so common. This may be
Yeah,
only
I
the
couldn't
second time
find
I'm
it.
hearing about it, but I know for a fact that the circumstances can't be the same as the first time because it was a much older version, and I would just be completely surprised if it was for the same reason. But this person have logged in before. If
Yeah,
I
because
believe, is that right?
they somehow got to the avatar screen before they remembered, and they also had the login pop up on the login screen showing because they somehow managed to reset their password, which I believe that's the only spot where you can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I
And
didn't find anything in the Vibrella troubleshooting guides to help him, so
oh yeah, that's definitely a tier two issue. Definitely not something, not one of the basic issues. But
Oh yeah.
do you know if he tried a clean reinstall?
I don't think he has yet. That was one of my recommendations. So, assuming he doesn't have any VPN or network issues, as Verbella's recommending we look into, then I may just walk him through tomorrow doing a reinstallation because I don't know what else to try.
Yeah, and another issue that one of my customers ran into was that his patch was interrupted like midway through. I think he had to, for some reason, close the program. So
Yeah,
if that individual was doing a patch and maybe it got interrupted in some way and it
yeah,
didn't patch properly.
and I was thinking about the Halloween patch too. So maybe the timing
Yeah.
of that happened to be bad. Um, And I guess the other thing I could suggest is if he has another computer to try installing on. So basically, I'm just looking at offering installation troubleshooting.
Okay.
If you have any other ideas, let me know.
Yeah, we'll do.
I think this does bring up a good question though of like how if we have support members and something happens that's not in there, what is the next step? So would we internally decide like Hunter will contact Tier 2 support via email? Like what?
Yeah, that exactly right. So
That's how we've been
in those
doing it.
situations where something is beyond the tier one tech support, that's where up to 3 admins of the campus would then just reach out to help@virbela.com. That way we can get you escalated quickly.
Awesome.
We lost Judy.
I think so. I think what I'll do is I'll run her through all of this, which will give me a chance to go through it all again and a chance to practice.
Oh yeah, if you can teach it to someone, that means you got it.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, I can follow what you were saying on that file. Oh, so here's a question. I'm getting like feedback or whatever. Causes that?
Oh, so in this case, it sounds like, and Victoria, correct me if I'm wrong, but you may not be using headphones, is my guess.
Yeah, that's correct. I think it's coming from my speakers.
She's like,
Okay.
guilty. Yeah. So sometimes, if you think that you're getting some kind of feedback, it could just be that somebody nearby may not be using headphones at that time. So not necessarily an issue on your end or really anyone's end, but
Right.
if just that slight delay where their playback speakers are just playing back the audio that they're hearing back into their microphone, then that could be a situation. So if you're talking to a user and that user says, "Hey, why does everybody say that I'm causing an echo?" It may not be an issue at all. It could just be that, hey, if
Use
you've
a
got
headphone.
headphones,
Yeah.
you use them. Or if not, you can use the number 1 on your keyboard as like a walkie-talkie button for the mic, as opposed to always leaving it open. That way, They may cause some echoes still while they're speaking, but at least, when they're done, they can just let go of the number 1 key. That'll automatically remute their microphone and they won't be causing any kind of echoes when they're not speaking. So that's something to try as well.
For one key?
The number 1, yeah.
Why make that work though? I'm trying it now.
Oh, so why would that help? The number 1 key?
No. I'm using the number 1 key and I'm not toggling.
Oh, that it could be because your mic is already open. But if you close it using the mouse and then
Okay, I'll try
press
that.
and hold the 1, then it should
Got it.
flash. Yeah, green.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
And that's my fault because I didn't mention it. So that's on me.
I
So
like
I'm glad
that.
the question came up. Yeah. What's another thing? If that doesn't help, you can also either with your upgraded permissions, or you can ask an admin or moderator to open up someone's account. So I'll pick on Hunter. Haven't picked on Hunter in a while. we can adjust his mic sensitivity. So we can either do this to someone, or we can just have them do it themselves. So they should be able to open up their own settings under preferences here. And then when they, just kidding. So not preferences, but audio settings.
Yeah.
And then microphone activation sensitivity. If I feel like I'm causing a lot of background noise, or it's picking up, a lawnmower outside, I can just manually reduce it. Or if I'm causing an echo because of my playback speakers and I don't want to reduce the volume of my speakers, I could just try reducing my mic sensitivity. And I don't know if you can hear what's happening right now, but my voice should be getting a little bit quieter, unless it's not working because I didn't hit done. So maybe now it's okay. I can kind of tell I'm having to speak louder now for my mic to pick me up.
And how do I do that? Okay, so I see if I click on Robert, I can see set mic sensitivity, so I can set his
Perfect. Yep.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And they will get a notification. If you want to see what that notification looks like, Kate, if you wouldn't mind just doing it to me, you can set my mic sensitivity either lower or higher, and you should see a pop-up appear on my screen as well. Yep. So that'll flash for a moment. It says an admin has changed your mic sensitivity. You may have been causing an echo or something of that sort.
Cool. From world ban user. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, careful with that one there. It's a lot of power to
Oh yeah.
good to have.
Definitely.
All
Don't
right.
sort of hit the wrong button accidentally.
Yeah, they're kind of. Maybe we should have that button much further away from everything else, right? Any other questions? Maybe how is Hunter's cat balancing on his head so perfectly like that?
So, like, that is quite impressive.
I've been training
the cat every day.
Talk about playback.
Yeah, that was a good effect there.
I think I'm good though, but that was wonderful, Jonah.
My pleasure, anytime. Always happy to see y'all.
Thank you so much.
All right, now I gotta get my issues sorted here with my screen share because I had to do something that I normally don't have to do, but it's probably a restart that I need on my end. I'll try to return this back to the page that it was before here.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, all. Once again,
thank
always
you.
fun seeing you.
That was so wonderful. Jonah, I really appreciate your support.
Anytime. Please don't hesitate to ask, and always happy to revisit any topics that you all would like to go through.